In a ceaseless quest to annihilate the unique identity of Ukraine and its people, Russia has consistently woven a web of deception, seeking to rewrite history at every turn. This trend spans from modern Russia right back to the Russian Empire era. Hi guys, I'm Drutska, and today we are unraveling the deceptions woven by Russia to undermine Ukrainian existence, cancel Ukrainians. But before we start, we must first comprehend the origins of this persistent clash between the so-called Russians and Ukrainians. At the crux of the issue lies the contention for the historical legacy of Rus, also known as Kievan Rus. In its prime, Rus was a vast realm stretching from the icy White Sea in the north to the warm waters of the Black Sea in the south. Home to East Slavic tribes and forcibly assimilated Baltic and Finno-Ugric tribes, the state flourished from the 9th to the 13th century. It then halted in 1240 when the Mongol invasion disseminated Rus, which was suffering from feudal fragmentation at that time. Why is this significant? A glance at the map reveals a colossal state which during its peak held hegemonic power in the region. The right to declare themselves the successors of this ancient state is the very bone of contention between Ukrainians and Russians. This is why Kiev, the heart and capital of ancient Rus, holds such profound importance and was a key target during Russia's full-scale invasion. Now, let's delve into the counterfeit theories fabricated by Russians throughout time, starting with two historians from the Russian Empire era, Nikolai Karamzin and Mikhail Pogodin. What's their audacious false claim? You will be surprised. The Russian Empire strived to fabricate a narrative of statehood origin, manipulating facts as they saw fit. So what did these Russian propagandists invent? They made Prince Vladimir the Great, the man responsible for Rus' conversion to Christianity, out to be Russian. It's as absurd as if Italy tried to claim modern France territories, declaring them Italian and rebranding the Gauls, Franks, and other ancient inhabitants as Romans. Pogodin then toned down Karamzin's overly bold idea, presenting a new take. Look at this map on your screen. It portrays a subjugated Kievan Rus. Kiev was captured and obliterated in 1240, leading to the virtual extinction of Rus. And what did Pogodin do? He put forward the theory that the former Rus, or Great Russians, who managed to survive after the invasion, moved to the north, and the territories that were conquered by the horde supposedly became desolate and were settled by migrants from the Carpathian region and Volhynia, Western territories, which were closer to modern Poland only in the 14th-15th century. Interesting, right? So as the story goes, Ukrainians are a failed state and only Russians are carriers of the ancient Rus ethnos. Fascinating. There immediately materialized a privileged caste of Russians and the so-called naive Ukrainians who merely stumbled upon these desolate lands. Keep these theories at the back of your mind. We will revisit them later in the video. But this was not the end of the fabrication spun during the Russian Empire's reign, or as some call it, the prison of nations under the monarchy. A fresh narrative about Ukraine's origin was conjured at the cusp of the 20th century on the eve of the First World War, amid the escalating tension with the Austro-Hungarian Empire. The plot thickens with the claim that Ukrainians were merely a fictional creation of Austro-Hungarian military minds, in reality just ordinary little Russians. These myths found fertile ground due to the fact that a significant portion of Ukrainian lands was under the Austro-Hungarian Empire, which facilitated propagandists from both the Russian Empire and modern Russia to deny the existence of Ukraine and Ukrainians, dubbing it a strategic ploy of their adversaries. There is even a meme associated with this story now. If you're enjoying this so far, don't forget to give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. And if you haven't already, please, if you want to support the channel and help us grow, you can do so through my Patreon or buy me a coffee, which I've shared in the description below. Look at this photo. Here are the high-ranking officials of the Austro-Hungarian army, alleged masterminds behind inventing Ukraine. This image is still leveraged by notorious propagandists like Vladimir Solovyov and Anatoly Wasserman. And so the plot thickens again. Following the collapse of the Russian Empire, the Soviet era ushered in a new wave of fabrications, the foremost being Lenin invented Ukraine. Our narrative continues with a familiar face, Vladimir Putin. In his characteristic manner, in December 2021, Putin made a statement that Lenin created Ukraine. The story goes that Ukraine was birthed in 1922 with the proclamation of the USSR. Consequently, the Ukrainian SSR was introduced as one of the integral constituents of the USSR. However, Putin, like majority of Russians, conveniently overlooks the surge of sovereignties following the February Revolution of 1917, where Ukrainians weren't mere bystanders. One must remember the formation of the Ukrainian People's Republic and the West Ukrainian People's Republic, which merged into a single entity on January 22, 1990. Though Ukrainians were unable to safeguard their newfound independence, it is an overreach to assert that Ukraine was merely invented by Lenin. Now let's circle back to the two historians of the Russian Empire. The amusing part is that the conjectures of these two historians would later provide the groundwork for the three fraternal peoples theory of the Soviet historian Vladimir Mavrodin. According to this, the state of Rus, with its capital in Kiev, wasn't founded by Ukrainians or Russians, but by a distinct East Slavic ethnicity, the ancient Rus people. The territorial occupation by the Tatars, Lithuania and Poland fragmented this ancient Rus ethnicity, involuntarily giving birth to Russians, Ukrainians and Belarusians in the late Middle Ages. Allegedly, the cherished dream of these fraternal East Slavic nations, which arose as a result of aggression from neighbors, was a reunification within a single state. Thus, Moscow's annexation of Ukrainian and Belarusian territories can be conveniently framed as a restoration of historical justice and the realization of Ukrainians and Belarusians' supposed dreams to reunite with the Russians. Quite a perspective, right? How do you find these interpretations? To distill all the above, Russia seems hell-bent on asserting its dominance and manipulating history, rationalizing its aggression as a restoration of historical justice. You must bear in mind one crucial aspect when a Russian attempts to justify their actions through historical context. They are lying. See you in my next videos. Slava Ukraini!